Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another comic book origins. In this case, we are looking at Brian Savage, the Scalphunter. I hope this is the one that Fragminion meant. This is a commissioned video. Thank you very much to Fragminion. Born Brian Savage, raised as a Kiowa Indian named Kiwonote, which means less than human. So, he got respect in the tribe. And is basically traveling the entire West trying to find a place where he could live and call home. But he is torn between two worlds. He's white, but he's not really white. He was raised Indian. You get it? You get it? This is the kind of story that gets nailed for cultural appropriation. I'm going to be in trouble for this one. Thanks, Frag! Anyway, he was actually created in 1977, as I said, by Sergio Aragones. I probably said that wrong. And Joe Orlando. And if you want to get a video like this done, go on over to Ko-Fi and just pick any kind of category. It's a commissioned video. You could tell me what character, what story. If it's like, hey, nobody's ever talking about this one, do it really that good. Or, hey, you know what, everybody's saying this sucks. I don't think so. Why don't you do a really that bad kind of thing? Or a top 10 list. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is YouTube is squeezing my channel to death. They're doing this thing that used to be called 300 plus, where they let me get a certain amount of video views, and then they just cut it off for a long, long time. And so I made another channel called Old Man Comics. And I would, if you don't mind, go on over there, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because eventually, this is where all the videos are going to go. This is where all the comic book videos are going to go, and I Love Comics is going to be for live streaming only. I want to get out from under the thumb of whatever it is they think I did to offend them. But with all that aside, let's jump into the first appearance of Scalphunter, Weird Western Tales, number 39. And as always, we start off with a cover. You got Weird Western Tales going up at the top. Number 39, obviously the West betrayed him. Now he returns as Scalphunter. In the tradition of Jonah Hex, a gut-searing saga destined to be a classic. Well, sorry, 1977. It's not a horrible legacy, but there you go. So we see a lot going on. I mean, this is a crowded cover. So there is a stamp, by the way, over to the side that's Y or TT12 something P. We see Scalphunter is shoving the door into one cowboy while slapping, is he hitting or slapping the chain across the face of another one? And it looks like one has already been knocked out. I love the fact that the glove on his back makes it look like he's got his hands behind his back as well. Nobody except for the one getting hit with the door has drawn their gun, and he looks ready to go as we see the onlookers coming in. In all honesty, I don't know. I hope it says something about what's going on in the book, because it's not exactly an iconic cover. There's nothing really memorable about it, and the hero is obscured. I don't mind an action cover, even for a first appearance, but I still think that he should be in some way looking a little bit more heroic. As it is, he looks like he's about to pee on the guy who fell. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this cover is a loser. The book begins, and they do not waste any time introducing us to Scalphunter. As a matter of fact, splash page, boom, there he is. This is the tale of an outcast of a man who lived in two worlds but was at home in neither. The Kiowa named him Kiwonate, he who is less than a human. White men called him Scalphunter, and this is his story. This is the sacred burial ground of the mighty Kiowa. Buried in treasure urns beneath these mounds are the venerated chiefs of the Kiowa nation. The ancient medicine man, Wa-no-na, has been chanting and fasting here for 6 full days. He prays to the Great Spirit to let the souls of the dead chief rest peacefully in his great sky house, so that they will not return in anger to haunt the Kiowa people. And then the medicine man is shot dead, and we see a group of thieves who want to dig up the burial ground for the gold and wampum. Later, the thieves are done. They've dug up the graves. They've stolen the gold. They've even filled them back in to cover their tracks, but they're too late, and the Kiowa Nation attacks. Little side note, it's the 70s. I can understand them going, hey, the white men are disrespectful to the Indians' religion. That's fine. But in the middle panel, they've got a country guy, a cowboy, saying hosses instead of horses, or hardening the R with like, but no, not hosses. That's Boston, guys. Cut to a nearby cavalry that has a report that there is a group of hostiles and they've got a party of white men cut off and surrounded. Why those mangy scalp hunting renegades? Anderson, heat me up a tune on that bugle. We'll show those savages how the U.S. Army can fight. At the ready now, charge! With rifles blazing, the cavalry column swoops down on the outnumbered Kiowas. The fighting is savage and bloody. But the end is a foregone conclusion. So after the battle, the men are looking over the field and they come across an Indian, but he looks weird. And he says, well, this looks like a white man. And as they move closer, Scalphunter comes to life, knocking one with a rifle, hitting the other with the butt of the gun as well. He runs away and one man says, he's making a break for it, I'll stop him. And he shoots him in the back. Or it actually looks like the back of the leg. Seeing that Scalphunter is only winged, they decide to bring him back to the base to stand trial since they noticed he is in fact a white man. And while there, he's being examined by a doctor who sees a weird birthmark on the back. And so he runs out of the room without telling anybody what he's going to do, but it seems like he's very curious and needs to find some sort of information. Speaking with the captain, the doctor says, I believe this is a guy named Matt Savage's son. And he's like, well, I can't believe it. He's a really sick man. We need to get him over there. So they ride Matt Savage's son, Scalphunter, over to Matt Savage's land. And it turns out that Matt Savage is hugely rich. They even say you could travel for miles in any direction and still not come to the end of what Matt Savage owns around here. So Matt Savage finally meets Scalphunter, and he's like, wow, come here. You're really Brian, aren't you? And the doctor's like, well, he's got that, he's got the birthmark, but he hasn't spoken any English yet. And Scalphunter tells him, I am not your son. I am Kiowa Note, warrior of Kiowa. And the old man's like, please, you got bluer eyes than your mama. And he's like, well, come on, boy. You're no warrior. There's no feather in your hair. The Kiowa won't let a white Indian be a warrior for them. And Scalphunter's like, no, you lie, which is, come on. I mean, if you've lived with him that long, you know if it's true or not. Come on. Fess up. So Scalphunter takes a leap towards Matt Savage, and he's like, I'm not a white man, dude. I'm not your son. I'm Kiowa. And then he gets a rifle butt across his head, which is this is like the second time in less than 10 pages that he's knocked out. And they're like, put some leg-ons on him. And we hear Matt Savage say, nah, leave him be. I ain't got a lot of life left in me, youngster, so try and listen to what I have to say. It was almost 23 years ago. It was 20 years ago today. When it happened, thar weren't no big... Come on. You're not writing it. The guy was not talking like this 2 panels ago, okay? I'm not offended by the Indian stuff. I'm offended by how they're writing Southern people here. It's like freaking Sling Blade. Some people call it Sling Blade. It calls it Kaiser Blade. I'm doing 20-year-old reference for 2019 comic book review. There weren't no big ranch houses here then. Weren't no livestock fences neither. There's just 3 of us starting out. Your mom, Laura Savage, you, Brian Savage, and me, and a half-built shell of a log cabin I was hoping to get finished before the first snowfall came. Hard rain. It confused us. Then out of nowhere, the kill was struck. They killed your mom, burned down the cabin, shot me full of arrows, left me for dead. Didn't have fun doing that. They grabbed you and rode away in a cloud of dust, whooping and hollering like Indians do. All these years I prayed that one day I'd get to see my son again. Not that I had any money or anything to hire an army and go out and find a Kiowa that took you. But I figured maybe luck would bring you to me, and luck did just that. 'cause I ain't lifting a finger to find you, but if luck wants to do the work, I'll let it do the work, and that's what happened. I ain't bitter, Brian, honest. All this land, it was Kiowa country, and long before it was ours, but them days is over, and now we eat together and work together and live together and die together. Lies! All lies, dude! I'm not Brian Savage, I'm Kiwo Nate. Everything you say is spoken with the forked tongue of Punama, the snake. No, youngster, I speak the truth. After that, the doctor steps in saying, enough, get Scalphunter out of here, because Matt Savage is a sick man, and you guys took it way too far already, what with the Sling Blade impersonation and all that. That was just kind of idiotic. Don't do that again. He told me that. I listened, and I won't do it again. So, being a white man, Scalphunter is actually taken to court. There's a court scene right here. And then he's like, okay, before I sentence you, do you have any words? He's like, I'm going to kill every mother one of you. Which, you know, helps the sentencing. He gets 10 years in state penitentiary. And we do cut to later in the Missouri State Penitentiary where we see a couple of guys razzing on Scalphunter because of his long hair. And before he even says a word, Scalphunter digs a big old rock hammer into a guy's stomach. Did you boys see that? That phony redskin, he clobbered Spike without even giving a fighting chance to defend himself. So all of them gang up on Scalphunter and begin to beat the teetotal heck out of him. And we hear someone yell, so that's it! We find out it's one of the guards who blames Scalphunter for the instigation of the fight. And he says, well, you just need to take a good old whipping, which I think is kind of weird. If he's getting his tail kicked, why interrupt it to kick his tail? I guess he just wanted a piece. But that's not what happened. Scalphunter catches the whip, wraps it around the guard's throat, strangles him to death in front of all the other guards, because you can see one on the wall that Scalphunter then climbs to confront. We see Scalphunter knock him off the wall and then follow him as he jumps. First, it shows him jumping feet first, and everybody's like, hey, he's headed for the river. But then, apparently, he did a flip into a perfect nosedive where they're talking about how he's as good as dead because he's diving into rapids. I will say this, never dive head first that close to rocks. Not good. That would have ended up with a lot of broken bones and maybe death. The guard is right. No ordinary man could swim this rampaging river and live to tell the tale. But a savage just might make it. And then, 10 days later, maybe we should have never robbed them Kiowa burial mounds, Monty. Something about having the dead people's stuff around gives me the creeps. I'm with Chris, Monty. It's... what are you guys afraid of? Few dead Indian chiefs? You got any idea what this here stuff is worth? Them Kiowa trinkets is gonna make us all rich. Here, drink some of this Java. It'll help you. Hey, Chris. And we see him just kind of keel over. He's got an arrow in his back. Monty, look! Where is he? Where's it? He's over there by the... and an arrow pierces the old man's chest. And in one of the worst fights I've ever seen, we see Scalphunter show up, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's Scalphunter! And one guy pulls a gun, and it doesn't fire. So that's luck. And the other one pulls his gun, but instead of shooting when he's aiming at Scalphunter, he raises the gun to shoot over his head. And of course, Scalphunter gets to him, and he's like, oh my gosh, don't kill me. I'll tell you. I'll tell him everything. I'll tell him we robbed the graves. And then it shows later in the court where the judge is offering him a full pardon. The next day, the town doctor finds Brian Savage, the Scalphunter, and tells him that, well, his father left him all of his property, even his gold watch. And Scalphunter tells him, only white men think about owning land. The Kiowa know that only God can own the earth. He says, well, be that as it may, your father's funeral is tomorrow and you should attend, but the next day he's nowhere to be seen. I guess all the boy wanted was to return to the Kiowas and, Doc, look up on the bluff. Why, it's Brian, exclaims the doctor, and I can hear him singing something. That's a Kiowa funeral dirge, Doc. The kind a warrior sings when his father's just died, and we see that Savage is looking at a picture, the gold watch of his whole family together. So there you go, gang. That is Weird Western Tales number 39, the very first appearance of Scalphunter, the white man raised as an Indian. It's got its moments. Here's the thing. When I read this, I'm thinking, okay, they're really not paying attention to Scalphunter for most of the story. We're getting all the dialogue from other people. We're getting the stoic Indian guy. He doesn't really speak until he's like the last part of the story. And for most of the time when he is speaking, he's actually being the savage that they're claiming him to be. He doesn't even start to begin to have a personality until the last few pages. So as far as first appearances are concerned, I don't know, Scalphunter may become a great character, but for the first issue, I'm not a fan. Sorry, gang. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That's all that YouTube really cares about these days, and I hate for you to miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts. Also, this is a commissioned video, so if you want to do one yourself, go on over to Ko-Fi. Links in the description below. Just pick any category and whatever story or character you want to talk about, I'll talk about. Easy peasy. Like, thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.